Hello everyone, salutations. So today we are going to continue with the next topic from the chapter Emerging Technologies, that's cloud computing. So let us discuss few examples which we use in our day-to-day life. As Android users, you may be familiar with an app known as Drive, Google Drive. Okay. So how to use Google Drive? You can save your photos, then your videos as well as other documents, okay, PDF file, Excel sheet, Word document, PPTs. You can store them in Drive. Okay, and how to use a Drive? You just need to have a Google account. Similarly, you may also use Gmail server for your virtual storage, like the attachments that we put with our mail. Okay, so email messages can have attachments. So attachments can be the files like your PDF file, PPT, photos, videos, audio file. Okay, so which gets attached to the email. Now these files also need storage, whether you are receiving such email with attachments or sending such email with attachments. These files which gets attached, they need storage. So these files are getting stored in Gmail server, okay, which is an example of cloud computing. Now, we also heard about Dropbox, okay, but Google Drive and Gmail server, they are free to use. You just need to have a Google account, all right, a Gmail ID. That's it. So, but Dropbox service is free for a certain period of time. You have to create an account in Dropbox. It's free for a certain period of time, and after that trial period ends, you have to pay. Okay. So what cloud computing does? It offers you storage space in their servers. Okay. Their means whichever company offers you such services like Google, Dropbox, Amazon Web Service, Microsoft also has it servers for cloud computing. Okay, so the data is actually getting stored in the servers. Okay, and since the data is not visible to us, means we cannot locate that data, that's why it's called cloud computing. If the data is stored in your personal drive, okay, or personal phone memory, so you can go to the folder and find wherever is your file is, correct, but that doesn't happen in cloud computing. You just save the file in the drive. Okay, but for your understanding, you just need to know the fact that the files are getting saved in the server owned by the company, owned by Google. All right. So Google is not just one example. There are many such companies who offer such cloud computing. And nowadays, most of the applications on internet, they work on cloud computing because they require storage. Okay. And such storage is available in huge data center or the servers owned by giant companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and many others, Cisco. Okay, so you must have heard about these companies. These companies offer you cloud computing services. So cloud computing services are needed by everybody. They are needed by individuals as well as organizations. Okay, now let us see the definition which is given in the textbook. So it says cloud computing is a model for enabling convenient on-demand network access to a shared pool of computing resources like networks, servers, storage, applications. So that means any individual or an organization who needs extra storage space for networking, servers, storage, as well as applications. They can use cloud computing facility and services released with service provider interaction. We are also going to study about models of computing and the types of deployment. Okay, but before that, let us see this pictorial depiction. That means whether you have a mobile, smartphone, laptop, okay, whether it is a networking device, networking storage, it, storage server, okay, or any other kind of server. It's a tablet, and this is a database. They all require storage, okay, and they have some uh, storage drive, okay. There is some storage device in all of this, but that is limited. That storage space is limited, okay. So here With the cloud computing, you can actually access more space. All right, this space is virtual. Virtual means it's not visible to us, but you can use the services. Okay, you can feel, you can use the services. All right. So cloud storage, which is generally depicted by clouds, the data actually does not go into the clouds. The data goes into the server. Okay. So all these facilities, that means all these facilities can have the use of cloud computing. Okay, so cloud computing is what? These are owned by giant companies like Google. See here, we have examples. Okay, Amazon Web Services, Amazon Elastic. So Amazon is just not a e-commerce website. It also have web services. It has Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud. Then Microsoft also has it. Google also has it. As I told you, Cisco also has it. Many such companies. Here you can see more examples. TaxSale, VMware, Azure, Flynn, Cloud Foundry, okay, OpenShift, Gmail. We discussed about Gmail, Trello, Slack, Office 365. Yes, now Office 365 is a product of Microsoft once again. Then other examples also. Okay. So the models of computing is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Okay, and if we talk about Google Drive and Gmail, they are the example of software as a service. Why? I will tell you. Okay, we will understand that also. Why I can say that Google Drive and Gmail, they come under the example of SaaS, not infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. Okay, uh, all right, but before that, we shall see the types of deployment. These are the types of deployment: public, private, and hybrid. And if we commonly use Google Drive, so that comes under the example of public cloud. Okay, then let us study models of computing. Now, here, pay attention to this. As I told you, see Gmail comes under the example of end user. So, this deployment, I mean, this computing models, they are categorized as per the users. So, who are the users? These are the users. These, okay, that means the network architects and IT administrators, they use infrastructure as a service. Okay, and they use applications such as Stack Scale, Amazon Web Service, VMware, and Azure, all right, for their work. Now, network architecture, IT administrator, that means lot of technical work. Okay, they have to design an entire network, they have to develop the entire storage network. Okay, so they know a lot of things in detail. They have a lot of knowledge of hardware. Okay, then next is the software developers. Okay, so they are the developer of apps, right, and the softwares which are used by the companies and people like us. Okay, and they will require cloud storage services from Flame, Cloud Foundry, OpenShift, etc. Okay, end users, we are the end users. We do not come in the category of software developers, or we do not have knowledge which can be compared. Nowhere it can be compared. Our knowledge cannot be compared with IT administrator and network architecture. You know your architecture, you know very well. Okay, we just know how to use certain software, not even fully. Okay, but they are the developers of the network, and they develop the softwares which we use. And software developers, they use platform as a service. Network architecture architects and IT administrators, they use infrastructure as a service. We as end users, we use software as a service. Okay, now Office 365, WPS Office, they also offer cloud storage. How? You can, whatever PPT, Excel document you create, you can store in Office 365. You need to have a Microsoft account. Okay, and WPS Office, you can also have a you can use other account also and store your files which are created through WPS Office, okay, in their storage space or in their cloud space. Okay, and nowadays many applications come with such services. Okay, so this software companies, they have their own servers and they offer the users some storage space, but that storage space is you have to pay for it. Okay, there is some subscription facility and you have to pay for it. Okay, so I hope so you got the general idea about cloud computing. Now we will be discussing our models of computing in detail. So the first one is infrastructure as a service. As we saw, infrastructure as a service is used by network architects and IT administrators. So these points you have to understand from that perspective, that it is used by the network administrator and IT network IT administrator and network architects. Okay, so they are the users. So why they need, and how these companies are helping them. Let us understand. Infrastructure as a service gives users access to storage, networking, servers. Okay, so IT administrator and network architects, they deal with these three. Okay, that is storage, networking, servers. Okay, and these three main services are offered by such companies. Okay, so they don't have to purchase, the companies and the IT administrators who need lot of storage space, then not lot of networking components, actual infrastructure hardware. Okay, then actual servers. Okay, which are very costly. These three are very costly. So such services are offered by these companies. Okay, so what they need to do, read the other part, while the user, that means the IT administrator, is responsible for managing their applications, data and middleware. Okay, so they just need to do the programming. The resources are offered by the companies like Azure, VMware, Amazon Web Service, Taxi. Okay, now next point. IaaS provides automated and scalable environments that provide a high degree of control and flexibility for the user. Okay. So these are the services offered by such companies. Key features. Instead of purchasing hardware, that means the companies do not have to purchase the hardware for storage, networking, and servers. Instead of purchasing hardware outright, users pay for IaaS on demand. That means they pay some subscriptions to these companies and they get all the facilities, storage, networking, and servers from them. All right, so that doesn't mean the server is going to be practically coming to these companies. No, practically it is not coming. That means the servers which are owned by them, they give space in their servers. Okay, so the companies are buying storage space in their servers, and for that the companies are paying. Okay, so infrastructure is scalable. Scalable means it is flexible. Means for this year they may need 50, and if the demand increases to 50, maybe upscale to 60. Okay, so infrastructure is scalable depending on the process and storage needs. Then enterprise saves the cost of buying. Okay, as I explained, such expensive storage, networking, and server hardware is not needed to buy. Okay, so the enterprise storage saves the cost of buying and maintaining their own hardware. Right. So the examples are Amazon Web Services, Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Microsoft Azure VM, and Google Compute Engines. Right. So these are also the examples, and these are also the examples. Okay. Now next we shall discuss about platform as a service, which is used by whom? Which is used by software developers. All right. So a service provider offers a cloud-based environment in which users can develop, manage, and deliver their applications. So software developers can develop, manage, and deliver applications by using space offered by whom? Offered by Flynn, Cloud Foundry, OpenShift, etc. By here also we have examples: SAP Cloud, IBM, Cloud Foundry, Oracle Cloud Platform, Cloudways. All right, so these companies offer storage space to software developers. Okay. In addition to storage and other computing resources, users are able to develop, customize, and test their own applications. All right. So if you think from the point of view of software developer, all these points will be easily understood. And that is why it's mm, needed to understand these categories, that which model is used by whom, and that's not clearly described in the textbook. So if you just read the textbook, you may find this topic very, very confusing. Okay, and all the points may seem similar. Okay, so you may be wondering what's the difference then? Why it's given separately? Okay, the difference is about the user, who is the user, okay, and what are their requirements. Okay. Now the key features offered by platform as a service. PaaS provides a platform with tools to test. Now these are all the components needed by the software developers. They will need tool for testing, developing host applications in the same environment. Now host is the another name of a server. Okay. So server you will say, but the server is owned by them. These companies own the server, okay, but the companies, okay, the companies which are buying services from them, they also need server for storage. All right. Now where were we? Here. Okay, so host applications, okay, now enables organizations to focus on development without having a worry about underlying infrastructure. Okay, so if storage space is needed to the software developer, they can just buy storage space from such companies like SAP, IBM, Oracle, Cloudways, okay, and also Flynn, Cloud Foundry, OpenShift, Heroku. Okay, so there is no tension of buying the server for development. Okay. Now provides manage providers manage security. Providers, who are the providers? They SAP, IBM. Okay, they are the providers. They manage the security, operating system, server software, and backups. Okay, so this maintenance tension is also gone. Okay, so maintenance and all the facilities are offered by them, and that's why it's chargeable. Okay, you have to pay for such services, but if you pay for such services, your work is becoming easy. You don't have to buy that many hardware. Okay, you don't have to invest lot of money for the maintenance. All that tension is taken by them. Okay, and definitely one way or the other you need funds. Either you buy such hardware, or you buy space in or buy storage space in such companies. Okay, one way or the other you have to invest. Okay, so this is a more convenient option. Now facilitates collaborative work even if teams work remotely. Okay, now that's the best advantage of having cloud storage, correct? So if the company is sharing a common cloud, okay, so if the company is having branches in different areas, they can use a common cloud to access files, correct? So these are many advantages of using platform as a service. Okay, so generally you can think that whether it is a software developer or whether it's an IT administrator, okay, so if they require a lot of storage space, they need servers, they need lot of hardware, okay, and if investment has to be done, security has to be taken care. So instead of doing that personally, you can contact such companies and take their service and take services from them. That is SAP, IBM, Cloud Foundry, Oracle, Cloud Platform, and Cloudways. I hope so. This point is clear to you. You understood the meaning. Then, now the third model, that is software as a service, which are used by us, people like us. Okay, so we are the end users. We don't have a lot of technical knowledge of developing the network, okay, or developing the software. We just use softwares, we just use apps in our day to day life, okay, and our day-to-day task is also very minimal. Okay, so if we have the account, you can just store your files in such cloud computing services, and that's all we need. Okay, uh, so now understand these points from our own perspective. We are the end users and what are our requirements. Now let us see. A service provider delivers softwares and application through internet. Okay, so using internet, now you cannot use Google Drive if you do not have internet connectivity. You need to have internet connectivity to use this Google's G Suite, GitHub, okay, Dropbox, SAP, Slack, okay. All these applications you can use only if you have internet connectivity. Then only you get connected to your drive, okay. You can save your files. You can, if it's not needed, you can erase it from there. But you need internet connectivity. User do not install application on their local drive. Instead, the application reside on a remote cloud network accessed through the web or an API. Okay, API stands for application interface. Uh, I think I'm getting that wrong. I'll check once again and tell you. Application programming interface. I'll check once again and tell you. All right. So key features. Let us study the key features first of all. So software as a service vendors provide. Now, who are the vendors? They are the vendors. Okay, these are the vendors. Google, G Suite, GitHub, SAP. They are the vendors. They provide what? They provide users. Who are the users? We. They provide us softwares and application via subscription model. I hope so that is clear. Okay. So Google is free definitely, but not all the applications are free. In Google also you have some certain application, certain such services where it's chargeable, where you have to pay charges. Okay. So users do not have to manage. Who? We do not have to manage, install or upgrade software. Software as a service providers manage this. Okay. So data is secure in the cloud. Equipment failure does not result in loss of data. Okay, and that's why we use our drive as a backup, drive storage as a backup. That means by chance the device, if there is failure in our device, our phone is not working, or if the file gets deleted from the phone memory or SD card memory, we have it saved in our drive. So we can download it from our drive whenever we need. Alright, so there is backup facility. Now, data is also secure in that and does not result in loss of data if there is equipment failure. Use of resources can be scaled depending on service needs. Okay, so if you require more such services, you can take a subscription, you can buy a subscription, and if you do not have much need, you can use the free services which are offered by Gmail and your Google Drive. All right, but if you need more storage, you can buy subscriptions from Slack, Dropbox, etc. Applications are accessible from almost any internet connected device from virtually anywhere in the world. Okay, so Google servers are not necessary. Yes, we have Google data server in India. Okay, in Delhi we have, Hyderabad we have, and also it is situated in many other parts of the world. Okay, but we can access them virtually. So the examples of software as a service are Google G Suite, GitHub, SAP, Slack, Dropbox. Okay, and also Gmail, Trello, Slack, Akumba Mail, Office 365. You can also add WPS Office. That is also an example of software as a service. Alright, so I hope so this is clear to you. Now, okay, one more picture related to example I have got, that is example of infrastructure as a service. Providers are companies or service providers or vendors. You can also call them vendors. They are Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Service, Meta Cloud, Google Compute Engine. Platform as a service, Elastic Beanstalk, Apache, uh, then App Engine. Software as a service, Office 365, Salesforce, Cisco, WebEx, as well as Google Apps. Okay, so these are the examples. Now next we have cloud deployment, but I think so this topic is quite lengthy. Uh, we shall continue from here in our next video. Okay, so we will continue with cloud computing, that is types of cloud deployment, in our next video. So we'll stop here. See you in the next video. Take care everyone.